there could be some negative pressures in spite of a negative catalyst released after hours today. Let's go over the charts as there may be a short-term upside before an eventual correction. So let's just go ahead and dive in. Welcome back on this Hump Day Wednesday. This is ARCa, and let's dive into ticker symbol COSM. Let's kill him, team. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. This is ARCa coming at you with COSM. So let's go ahead and dive into this chart now. And there are, like I said, team, there was apparently a negative catalyst reported just today. And if we, you know what, I guess we can go over that metric now, right? So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to bring up a screen here for you. And I want you to, so let's go ahead and pull up the portrait screen. And let's see, a member, Franz Kafka, helped us out here. He was very kind enough to share this post here. So I know it's a little small here. I have it zoomed in for us to be able to see it. So let me get rid of this screen here and pull up that other screen. Here we go. So what you're looking at here is a potential reverse stock split again. So the board has voted yay for this, and there could be this in line. Now, this of course is usually looked at as a negative thing, right? So as a shareholder would maybe observe this as kind of a band-aid and not exactly the biggest or the greatest fix in the world. It's just a temporary fix to maintain some type of compliance or whatever that can be, right? So there was an interesting question presented in the Discord, and I feel that I answered it correctly, right? So let me just go ahead and show you what was answered within that. So let's go ahead and get rid of this screen right over here and bring up the portrait yet again, right? So here you go. This is what I ended up answering here. So the question was asked, how many times can a company reverse split? So I guess we can look at this in a yearly basis, right? So there's actually no specific limit. If you can't see this, I apologize, but I'll read a little bit of it, right? So in the US, there's no specific limit to the number of times a publicly traded company can perform a reverse stock split in a given year. However, there are some important considerations. First of all, like a shareholder approval, typically a reverse stock split requires the approval of the company's shareholders. So this means that if a company wants to perform multiple reverse splits in a year, it would generally need to obtain shareholder approval of each instance. So, and of course, there are several other metrics that need to be considered here. Right, so that's kind of what we're looking at here regarding COSM's stock split, the reverse stock split. So let me go ahead and get rid of this screen now and talk about a potential opportunity here, because yesterday it was I think it was during the weekend where I ended up putting this analysis and telling you that there is a regression line that we could be respecting. So facing today's price action. Facing today's price action, you can actually see that we came back down and respected that regression bounce. And we we faced the bottom side of, what was this? A low of 127 before bouncing to around 132 and ending up at 130. After hours close, came up to 128. So that regression is being respected, meaning that there could be an upside soon, based on, and this is not a fundamental play. This would actually be strictly like a technicals play. It would just be a chart play, not anything fundamentally speaking at this point, but there is a potential danger regarding that RS. Okay, so typically that's not the best thing in the world for a company to be using, right? So it's just like I said, some people can perceive that as a potential band-aid, and there could be some financial issues amidst. So please just take whatever I'm saying here with a grain of salt. I'm not the biggest fundamental analyst. I was very thankful that some of the members were speaking about this in the Discord community. So go ahead and join the community, as it is free. I'm not charging for the Discord, so you can come by and speak to the great people there. Very good vibes. Okay, team. So if we are going to face an upside here, we need further validation, of course. I can definitely see that the MACD is facing a nice upside pivot here. There is a little bit of there is a little bit of the relinquishing of some bull pressure, and that's not always the best thing, but it's not so significant. So let's go ahead and pull up some other time frames here so we can understand what that potential could be. So what I'm going to do here is use one of my master layouts. And you know what? I actually don't have one. So let's go ahead and just pull it up here. So let's do this right here. And I assume that I've already drawn all over this, but it's okay. What we need to do is just observe volatility versus momentum, and then we would be set up. Okay, so here we go. Let's start off with the 30-minute immediate short term, just like we always do, and start observing the potentials. Okay, so 30-minute short term is suggesting a potential correction here. Let's see the 5-minute. 5-minute is currently way oversold. 15-minute time frame still showing that downside, which is why it's cascading into the 30-minute. Now, it looks like the hourly may start reading it. However, I'm not sure that this is going to get all the way to a correctionary period within the hourly time frame. The reason I say that is because the 5-minute time frame is so oversold to the point to where it's actually at 5-minute historic lows. And in fact, we've reversed from this point here several times. So there is a higher probability for a reversal starting from the 5-minute, right? So that 5-minute would need enough push to cascade into the 15 and to the 30, which would then, in essence, correct that little tiny potential of a downside here on the hourly time frame. So as we move up the time frames, you'll see that downside is probably not there. So bi-hourly time frame suggesting upside, decreasing volatility, potential correction to expansion. We'll observe that live as well. So 4-hour time frame is now suggesting a little bit of consolidation here with a slight upside. And sorry, that was the 3-hour. So now the 4-hour time frame is a little more consolidation or potential short-term downside as well. So yeah, what I'm gathering here is that there is potentially a new wave towards the upside, but it is very short-lived, and we need to observe how volatile that move can be, starting from where we said on the immediate short-term time frame, 5-minute. So as soon as we get that 5-minute correction with a pivot towards the upside, that would essentially kind of set the tone for the 15-minute and the 30-minute reactions based on that upside. Okay, so I mean, what I can say is that we've been moving we've been just consolidating around this zone for quite some time now, for a few days now, right? I'm talking about the better part of about 155 to the lower end. I guess the average low end would be right around 121, right? So this huge chop zone here kind of stuck there, and I would assume that it was waiting for some type of fundamental outlook. And we just got that, and I'm not sure what can happen to the asset, but what I do know is that RSs are not usually good. And this would be interesting here, because remember that COSM is essentially that inversion starter. What I mean by that is that when COSM faced its reverse stock split in December or November, whenever that was, this thing rallied to $23. So this is the ticker that created that black swan, and now what created a bunch of it created kind of a new narrative, right? So COSM is famous for that, as a lot of people now start to see RSs as potential opportunities towards the upside. COSM is directly responsible for that, in my personal opinion. So yeah, so let's go ahead and now move on to the I want to look at the IWM, which is the Russell 2000 ETF versus the Russell 2000 Index Futures, and the current price action, right? So you can see here that clearly this is a downside based on catalyst as the broader markets are actually rallying. So we're getting this upside pivot, and still COSM is actually facing a downside here. So yeah, that is catalyst. That is actually based on a catalyst, and this is just broader market activity. We're facing this upside in the broader markets, I believe, to be in respects to the Fed speaking on this Friday. So we have to keep an eye on those things, okay, team? I'm sorry to say this, right, but I do think that COSM may try to get an upside here. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to get as far as an upside as the one that I was speaking of here. Up to this target of around 148 based on this negative catalyst, but there may be a short-term upside, and there's a immediate resistance to be found at around 133, and it is a range, so I can just go ahead and kind of put it down like this. That would be 133 to the zone of about 136, and then we would see what can happen here. Okay, so if there is absolute negative reaction towards this bearish news, then we could start assuming the price action to fall deeper, right? So in fact, what if it did this on the next day, for example, right? If we did this on the next day, it'd be very curious that it would fall down to this area again, because then it would try to validate the support of the broadening of the macro scale, descending broadening wedge yet again. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here, team, but there are a few targets for us to consider, right? The center of the triangle, the one that we just took from the largest part of it, and the breakout zone itself, wherever we do break out from. Okay, what I can tell you is that usually these formations tend to realize when we're at about 65 to 70%, but in this case, since we do have a negative catalyst, then that could change immediately. Okay, so I'm not sure if COSM had an options chain. I believe it did, but there are still ways to support the company even still. And what I mean by that is actually long puts, right? So that's revenue, even still, while betting the downside, right? So creating a negative pressure in a positive manner. That's quite the oxymoron, right? But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking at here for COSM, team. A lot of the chart, of course, it's going to kind of go out the window as soon as we get some negative reads like that. And we don't know what the metric is going to be as far as the ratio split. So we're going to have to wait for that too. So that's also going to, potentially play into the price action here. So everything in the RSI is actually still facing towards the downside. Like I said, the only one that we're looking at here for a potential upside would be the immediate short-term time frame, and even still, those would still have resistances coming up right away, which is giving validity to that potential 134 to 136 resistance. So yeah, let's just go ahead and keep an eye on this, team. We'll keep on reading the ticker as we move along, and but if that negative catalyst does take play right away, and the asset does not rally into that potential ratio read, then this 5-day volatility versus momentum backtest would essentially be it would just be eliminated, right? Because it's already made a few percentile from that top side of 162% to the upside, right? To be very particular, it actually made a move of about 27%. That mean. So it's fair, it's okay, but still, it's just, there's a lot of people bag holding here. There's a lot of investors worried, and we can, I can only do so much here, but we'll continue evaluating the ticker. Please don't be afraid to come on the live streams. 6:40 a.m. is usually when I come on Pacific time. So please consider coming by and saying hello. Okay, team, so please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot, and I repeat, I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, very good night, and I will catch you at the bell mañana. Adios.